Hello and welcome to Sporting Gibberish. I'm Stu Booth.
I'm Jack Luffman.
On today's show, Fact or Fiction again is going to come up. I've got a few buttes for you lined up. It's going to be a good one. Also, I've got some interesting news to talk about our sporting week. I've been contacted by somebody which you don't know about.
I don't know, I'm excited about this.
I don't know if you should be, but we'll see.
It's not Al Nassr, is it, that bloke again?
No, it's not him.
Contract?
No, it's about you, so it's not about contract.
It's about me.
So we'll see what happens there.
Oh no.
Yeah, now you are looking a bit worried. So you should be. We were talking football, Premier League, Arabian Gulf League. Moving on from that, you've got to talk about, or you want to talk about sporting superstitions, which...
Yeah, one of the guys who I played cricket against actually in the UK, avid listener of the pod is Stubbsy. And he came up with a couple that he mentioned, so I thought it's quite a good one actually.
Yeah, well, we'll have a look at that. The interesting article that went out this morning with regards to Boston Rugby Club with a Sporting Gibberish special with Rory.
Yeah, that's right, exactly right, yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about that later. We're going to talk about UK sporting greats, which we mentioned last week, and how conversations have happened this week. And good to hear that Larkin is back.
He's back with a vengeance.
Even though I had a decent week. I said decent, I scored above average, so that for me is a decent week. So,
yeah, I not bad. I do believe I'm first in all the leagues that I'm in, I think, or close to.
I don't think you are top of ours.
We're not top of ours. I'm WSL.
The most important one you're not top of.
I can't win it though, can I? Come on.
Yeah, but what we'll do is we will start with Fact or Fiction, and as I said, I've got a few little cheeky ones for you today. So don't look at my screen, stop trying to cheat.
We'll look away from the camera there, people on YouTube.
Okay, right. So I'm going to put this to you, and you're going to tell me if this is fact or fiction.
Okay.
Back in 1919, Ray Caldwell, he managed to get struck by lightning whilst pitching for Philadelphia A's. Okay.
Baseball.
This is baseball. He pitched for Philadelphia A's. Fact or fiction? Did he get struck by lightning and manage to finish the game?
I'm going to go with yes. True fact.
That is correct.
Oh, yes.
Correctamundo. In 1919, he was struck by lightning in the middle of the ninth innings, shrugged himself off and finished off the game.
As you do.
As you do.
He didn't die.
No, he didn't.
No big social media campaign against the opposition of
against lightning. As my dad would say, don't make them like they used to. Right, okay. So, we're going to talk about American football now in the second one. In NHL started introducing 1979-1980 season that headgear was to be worn.
So this is American football.
American football. Yeah. Okay, headgear was introduced in the 1979-1980 season. Okay, is this fact or fiction? Craig McTavish, who played for St. Louis Blues, continued to play without headgear up until 1993. Is this fact or fiction?
No, St. Louis. I thought it was St. Louis Rams that NHL. NBA, not the NBA. What are we talking about?
American football.
American football. There's no that's false. He can't play without helmet into 1993. False.
But you've got it correct. He actually played till 1997 without helmet.
Wow. How did he get away with that then?
I've no idea. It must have been an official ruling. So it says here when NHL started requiring players to wear headgear in 1979 to 1980 season, the rule allowed anyone who started playing before then to continue using their skull as a helmet if they so desired.
Huge. The skull.
As a helmet.
What a law that is.
As my dad said, don't make them like they used to.
No.
When centre Craig McTavish retired from the St. Louis Blues in 1997, he had the distinction of being the last helmetless player to leave the game. It's easy for you to say.
Easy for you to say.
Strange. Right, okay. Pro golfer Kevin Na broke a PGA record in 2011 in the Valero, Texas Open, but not the kind you regale to your friends. Na set the new record for the most strokes on a par 4 hole when he shot 15 on the 9th.
Ah,
The whole episode took an agonising 20 minutes. Is this true or false?
That is fact.
It was false. It took him 16 shots.
That's less than you. They're less than you.
That's probably
more than you. Sorry, less than you, more than you.
Yeah, I don't know
Whatever.
which way around you go, but
It's been a long week, hasn't it?
it clearly has been. But yes, that was Backdoor Fiction. I forgot to do it at the beginning.
You won 2-1 then.
I won 2-1.
I'm not very good at this.
No, well, you know, shall we just save ourselves time next week? You'll do them, and I'll just say fact right now.
Okay, bang him in. Bang him in the machine.
I've won 3-0 already. Right, moving on. I'll let you start on Sporting Week this week, Jack. How's it gone? I don't know. I've got some tissues. Anyway,
a bit bitter, I have to say. So, as everybody knew, we needed to win well with a bonus point, and increase our win rate to get to the top 4, which is the elite playoff. So top 4 from each pool into there. So we played against second bottom of the league, so we should have done it, and we did. Clinical, very good performance. Bowlers set it up, bowled them out for 74, even though we played 10 overs or more with 10 men, because one of our bowlers bad dislocation of the finger, Hamza, so I hope he's doing alright there, Hamza. Keep off the samosas, pal. But anyway, we're going alright, and we knocked them off in 10 overs, easily, 2 wickets down. Myself and Clint finished the job off. So we win with the bonus point, and we increase our run rate. So our run rate is then 0.5 of a run ahead of the Emirates MBD, who have got the game on the Saturday. So we're quite happy with that. They're playing Wombats Yellow, who are sort of lower end of the table, a decent side on their own day. They've had some good wins this year. So we're thinking, do you know what?
It's half a chance there.
Yeah, more than half a chance. We're confident that we think Emirates MBD will win, but not. They've basically got to match our result, or better to go through. Well, I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I woke up Saturday morning, because they had a morning game, so they start at 8 o'clock. Wombats Yellow field 9 men. Bear in mind they're the biggest club in Dubai, 70 odd members. So they field 9 men. They get bowled out for 79. And Emirates MBD knocked them off in 8 overs. Emirates MBD used 7 bowlers, some of which like 1 over for 25 or something like that. So Emirates MBD win, get the bonus point, so they're now level, and go above us on run rate. And then the only other game in the afternoon, which could have gone our way if TCC lost heavily, which we were never going to do, didn't. So actually 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th in the league all finished on 17 points, separated by 0.2 of a run rate, and we're the ones who just missed out.
Oh, just imagine if you played a little bit better with a bat.
Well, it does make you think a bit like that, like we've got ours a bit quicker, but the danger of doing that is like...
I wasn't about you, I was about you personally.
Oh mate, I was fine.
All them 1s and them 4s and 3s and 6s.
38 not out of 30 balls I got.
What about them other games though?
Yeah, but you can't live in the past, can you? We did what it's a bit gutting. However, on a more positive note, we have made it to the what they're calling the Premier Cup playoff thing. So that's the sort of the bottom half, if you like.
So basically the Mickey Mouse Cup.
Yeah, the plate. I mean, nobody ever wants to win the plate, do they really?
No.
However, we're going to go and win it. So we got our quarter final on Saturday.
Well, that is interesting. So his announcement here, exclusive. Jack is going to win the play.
I'm backing it. I'll tell you now. I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't win that.
Right.
Or
So
at least get to the final.
okay. So what I'd like to do at this point is I should maybe talk about this when we're talking about your fact or fiction, because something has come to light.
Go on.
So I'm trying to look at my screen.
Go on.
So I was contacted by somebody that says Jack missed out the fact that he got his 190 odd against 10 men. So you've just been complaining about the other team having less players. Did you fail to forget that?
I did forget that. Genuinely forgot that.
Did you also forget to tell us that their team consisted mostly of kids?
I think that's a bit harsh. Somebody's stitched me up there. I don't think it was full of... Who stitched me up there?
Jack.
I don't think it was kids.
So I'm only reading the information that was sent to me. So Luffer's best score ever in the world, 190, played against a bunch of kids, and they only had 10 players.
It wasn't a bunch of kids. I'm not happy with that. It was against... Now I remember it was against 10 men.
He's just come back to him.
But you're still going to get him next year.
Yeah, and then can I just ask, after you left that team, they did carry on winning games without you, didn't they?
Who? Boston?
Yeah. Yeah, so the winning league honours didn't just stop at Jack Loveman's door, it then continued.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did mention that though, did we?
Well, I didn't need to.
Didn't we? Right, so we're just clearing this up that the saviour of Boston Cricket Club
No,
wasn't the saviour of Boston Cricket Club. In fact, I believe the big saviour of the cricket club was actually Fridge.
Oh, has he been in contact, has he? Oh my dear. You don't need anybody when you got a brother like that, do you?
No, you don't. No.
But actually, he did send me something useful. Actually, I was going to talk about Sporting Weeks. That I'm going to tag this group in. So he did send me this. I think it's on Facebook, which I'm not on. But get this. So in a game in Australia, St George's Districts arrived at the crease. Andrew Ross arrived at the crease as his side were 52 for 6, chasing 304 to win.
Wow.
They won. Alright. He batted for 5 hours, thrashed an unaballed double century to set up a victory on the final day, because they played 2-day cricket in Australia. So that's some achievement. The best of it is, in 111 games of first grade cricket, Walsh's highest score previously was 53.
Wow.
And he averaged 9. His career average was 9.
Sounds a bit like you, Jack.
I'm just going to go out here. There's 9 all sorts in my back. But what a great effort, Walshy lad.
Yeah, well done, Walshy.
I mean, expect a message from somebody saying it was against 10 men or...
Much better than playing against an under-13 team.
Yeah,
well done, Walshy. So I decided this week, big game, second to last game of the season. I've not had a good game last week. I put it down to the fact that I played too much football. So I took it easy, not played any other games, saved myself for last night. 163.
Very worth it.
Very happy with my performance. 163. It's all now down to a title decider next week. First versus second, winner takes all.
I'll ask you, how many goals you discussed, Jim?
Just three.
And I'm going to stitch you up now. So I asked last night, I played a bit of golf with Larkin actually last night. This text come through, how was the golf? And I knew what he wanted. So I took the bait and asked how he got on. And he just said, well, the gaffer said, I was the difference. So I knew he had a good game.
And I think I just said, I just put, I was the difference.
Oh, what's the difference?
So
it wasn't endorsed by the gaffer, you're just saying
I'm just obviously, I was the difference. Yeah.
Wow.
Without my 3 goals, we draw the game.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with my performance. So it leads on to the big game next week, which the league have stitched it up a treat. So Dubai FC played after our game last night, but they had to play another team first last night. And if they lost last night, then that was it. We'd won the league without playing the last game of the season. But Dubai FC happened to play Grizzlies' rest of the world team, who just happened to have played an hour's game before they played Dubai FC. So the league had given Grizzlies a game first against our other team, and they beat our other team 4-3. Then straight off that game, not even a rest, straight into the game against the second best team.
This is Vets League, isn't it?
This is Vets League. So you can imagine that there'd be some aching bones after 60 minutes of running around.
But it sets it up nicely for grand finish, though.
It is, yeah. Confident we'll go there and we'll beat them. So
we've both laid the markers.
Yeah.
Bit of silverware for the end of the year.
At the moment, I'm currently 3 ahead of everybody on the league goal scorer chart. So unless somebody goes in and bashes 4 and I don't score next week, should be bringing home another trophy.
Good effort.
Oh.
I don't think I'll get top. I think I'm in the top 5 months. So. Mind you, 300s.
You've done all right there, considering you get
under
5s and 6s.
Under 13 team, I'll be alright, won't I?
Maybe we should play against our cricket lads at school.
Yeah, they're good though.
Your 7 lads will be alright.
They're good.
Come on, a little bit of a spin in there and you'll be done.
Thanks, Fridge.
Yeah, cheers, Fridge. Thanks for the information. Anybody else back home, by all means, just pass it over. I've just loved. I've been waiting all week for this. Dead excited about it.
You're not even let on a little bit.
No, not even a little bit. I've got something to say up until the point where we started recording today. Right, interesting. Which could potentially be good news for the Premiership, for people at home, and then maybe the Euros. Is the potential introduction of fans in English games of a percentage of the capacity, only in the lower tiered or the less infected areas of the UK.
Yeah, so they've just, I think we're recording this Thursday evening, so sort of Thursday lunchtime back in the UK, and they've just announced some of the areas that are going to go into tier. So I've just seen, for example, that Lincolnshire is going into tier 3, which means no fans at Lincoln City or Bosch United. So, but it's good news.
Yeah.
Did you see what Klopp had said? And I think he was quite funny in his own way, that It's he kind of said he can't understand why he can only have 2,000 in a 60,000 seat stadium, yet some places might get 4,000 and 9,000 seat stadium. And his comment was, but that's just how it is now. Nobody understands anything, do they?
No, he's spot on all the time, isn't he? But yeah, interesting is Liverpool have actually gone down a tier. Right. So Liverpool were one of the worst places in the country and the first ones to go into tier 3.
Yeah.
And now they've actually reviewed. So, and the worry thing is that the government will be lavishing on the back of the fact that they've done the right decision in Liverpool. So, like you said, it's Lincolnshire, Manchester, and all them other areas are going to continue to get hard.
Yeah.
But we're hoping it's good news. Fans get back in games, bums on seats, bit of atmosphere, which would be great for the players. Also essential to the running of clubs.
Oh, massive! And I mean that kind of. Maybe we should skip there. It kind of links, doesn't it, a little bit to like amateur sports clubs around the country. And it's the same with the lower leagues. We've said it from day one on this podcast that actually, you know, fans are not only the lifeblood of some of these lower league clubs, non-league clubs, etc. It's actually their life, isn't it? As well, you know, it's what they do. I think we mentioned before that I think Lincoln City had done it actually. Maybe Judge George had talked about it actually when we interviewed him about the fact that the club were passing messages between season ticket holders who didn't really know each other's names hardly, but had sat next to each other for 25 years because they hadn't seen them for 6-7 months. And you know, it's got to be back in there. It's interesting though, isn't it? Like, how on earth are they going to decide? I saw it on a Spurs forum or Spurs social media page. You know, looks like there'll be 2,000 allowed in Spurs. How do they decide which 2,000?
Which also then leads on to, if the European Championships happen, is all the tickets have already been sold. So again, is it going to just be a ballot? I'm sure that for clubs like Spurs and Liverpool that have got season ticket holders, sure it's just going to be a rotation of them.
You would have to be.
And just say, unfortunately, no general sales. It's just going to be on rotation of season ticket holders only, and then they'll just work out some type of rotation.
I just wonder on the back of that whether we talked about last week about the potential for fans here in the UAE and all the sporting events. So I wonder whether that might kickstart over here. Potentially football and the golf and the cricket looks like they're going to tour.
Yeah.
England are going to tour here as opposed to going to India to play India and the IPL back and everything, the Grand Prix and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the interesting is the next golf one is on the 9th of December.
Yeah.
The European Tour is here, so see what happens with regards to that, because that could be one of the first ones that allows a little bit of.
Interesting enough, that weekend they are selling corporate tickets or hospitality tickets to the general public. Right. So they've obviously got, which fits into the laws and the regulations about going out for meals and things here in the UAE. So that's lying into there, but just not around the golf course. And it's never very busy, is it? Anyway.
No, it's only at certain points, at certain times. Like the 18th is quite busy towards the end of the day. 13 seems to be a nice hangout for most of the WSO staff. If you get lost, go to 13th, you're bound to bump into some member of staff that's sat there. I think it's only right. What we'll do is we'll change the schedule. We'll go straight on to the Boston, because I think it just links in nicely with what we're talking about.
Yeah. So you might have seen it on YouTube, but my nephew Rory is a member of Boston Rugby Club, obviously my hometown rugby club, and I think my brother does some coaching there as well. But they've obviously, like a lot of amateur clubs around the country, are suffering through their lack of playing and money beyond the bar and doing things. And Boston Rugby Club traditionally have a huge firework display that a lot of the town go to. Obviously not been able to do that. I think they do something similar to Christmas party. So their head coach, full-time Ashley Coates, who ex-pro rugby player thing and coach, he set the club a challenge to raise £1,927, which is linked to the year they were formed, 1927. I think they've already surpassed that, and each individual was asked to sort of complete 19.27 miles or whatever. Well, young Rory's took it upon himself and got his mum and his dad out there and has completed this. And have a listen to this now. I reckon I'll be struggling that year doing 2 miles.
I tell you, it's so impressive for a young lad to get off his bum where it's so easy, especially at this time of year where it's pitch black, it's cold, it's miserable. It's not a nice time. I used to get November blues back in the UK.
Yeah.
And then to get up and go, right, I'm going to do some running, I'm going to do some biking. You know what, Rory, if I had a cap on, I would doff that to you now.
Good. And he's only 7. Very good.
Awesome.
Although he didn't look particularly like the running. Bit boring.
bit bored. What we'll do, we'll get you on a triathlon next, Rory.
Oh yeah, you'll be up for that.
Yeah.
You'll be up for that, anything. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of other clubs around. So if you're listening, you want a bit of a shout out, we're quite happy to reach who we can reach on our platform. That's had a bit of publicity through our YouTube, and we've been tweeting it, and the local press and people have been picking it up. So I need to donate actually, Rory. That's my job this weekend. I'll get actually Auntie Shell can do it. You're her best boy, so she can do it. But yeah, anybody else, get in contact and we'll do what we can.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see people at home on the camera, these tashes, we have only got a matter of, 4 days left? 4 days left. For people on the podcast, you will not be seeing a single thing right now.
But I mean,
I'm quite happy. Yours just looks like yours have been drawn on.
It's not good, is it? The
but
wife detests it.
I
mean, I've likened you to Ian Rush, John Aldridge,
here we go.
Burt Reynolds.
Here we go.
I had the best one today. I was relieving work when absolute goal. I said I'd mention it. Stu was walking out, just took his mask off to itch his nose sort of thing, and Manel spotted it on his face, and he was laughing. What did he say? You look like one of the Chuckle brothers.
I think he called me Barry, didn't
Barry
he?
Chuckle.
Barry
I don't know
Chuckle.
which one's dead or alive, to be honest.
But at that point, I did remind Jack that if I'm one of the Chuckle brothers, he must be the other one.
I mean, it's been noted before, I suppose, isn't it? To me.
To you.
Let's go.
So yes, more members coming along nicely. So thank you very much for people who donated. And wife has booked me in with certain barbers in Dubai to get it all taken off. And she will be donating, so we'll put some things up.
Yeah. It's going to be about $1,500 at the minute, aren't we?
Yeah, I tell you what, we're going to look young next week, though, aren't we? Jeez. Right, Arabian Gulf League time.
Bottom.
We have had a shocker last week.
Oh, our teams have been.
But to be fair, could be worse. It could be Al Wassel fans. Al Wassel, another loss, 2-1 at home to Al Ain. Kalba beat Banias, who are on a slump. Banias can't seem to be picking up anything at the moment. Pajero 1-0. I think had to a rock bottom if I'm.
They
don't seem to be
fancy
winning
the job
anything.
there. What do you reckon?
What, back playing? Centre forward for Hatter.
We'll take over.
Yeah.
Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Yeah. Chuckle Brothers, mate.
Chuckle Brothers, yeah.
Remember that.
In charge at Hatter.
Sharjah 2, Al Nassr 1. Close, but no cigar.
No cigar, yeah.
And Sharjah look a little bit like it's going to be Liverpool, where they're just going to run away with the league. Unfortunately. Al Wada 3, Ajman 0, Al Dafra 2, Kofrakan 0. I'm getting back to these pronunciations. I think we should just leave the last result off.
Now we go. What is it? Shabab Ali 3, Al Jazeera 5. That's a poor result, Stu. At home at the Rashid Stadium.
That's like, you know, when Brazil used to have that quote, "We're going to score more goals than you." That just seems like that type of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, as it stands at the moment, Sharjah 6 from 6, 5 points clear after 6 games of Al Wada and Al Nassr 2nd and 3rd. Al Jazeera move up to 4th after their great win. Shabab down to 8th. Al Wassel 10th. And like I said, Hatter can't buy a win at the moment and currently sit bottom of the league with 1 draw. But to be fair, the 1 draw, I'm saying this, Kofrakan aren't much better. They've also only got 1 point.
And Ajman have got 2 points, so it's shaping up for the bottom 3 already.
So looking a little bit grim. But this week's fixtures, as it is Thursday, there is a game tonight, but as you'll hear this tomorrow, it would have already been played. So Al Jazeera against Hatter, that should be a whitewash. Al Jazeera by at least 3. Al Wassel versus Fajera, which is a bit of a mid-table clash. Shabab versus Ajman.
That's tonight as well.
Yeah, need to get a victory on board. Quite a few games tonight. Kofrakan, Sharjah, so with Sharjah, another win there, shouldn't be too much problem. And then the games on Friday are Al Nassr versus Banias.
Got to get back to winning ways, boys.
Banias are on a bit of a slump, as we mentioned. Al Dafra are playing at home to Kalba. And the last fixture, which is Friday evening, is Al Ain versus Al Wada, which is an interesting one, because Al Ain have picked up a few results lately. Al Wada are currently 2nd.
Game of the round, I would say.
Yeah, you'd say that potentially, you know, like for your boys, Al Nassr, they'll be hoping that that's a draw, really. But yeah, so
I'm really looking forward to going and watch a game actually now, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna get my Stone Island gear on.
North Face
cap. I'm going to borrow it off Binoy. But yes, moving on, recap Premier League from last week. So, interesting results. I think the majority, the ones we first called, Chelsea we always knew we'd I think Newcastle potentially had the chance to upset, but Chelsea were just too strong from the off and that.
I was speaking about Newcastle to Kev Fields at work, who's obviously a big Newcastle fan. And I'm not necessarily highlighting this game, but if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be really frustrated with their tactics.
Yeah, but I think he was missing a few of the players.
Yeah,
Shelby wasn't there, Wilson
Wilson
wasn't there.
was injured, but and maybe at home to Chelsea's not. I just think though it is so obvious that a game he thinks he can't win or get anything from, he just goes up to the defence and tries to nick something. You know, like he did at Spurs. Okay, it worked, didn't it, with a dodgy penalty, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's got better players than doing that.
Yeah, but I caught some of the Villa Brighton game. That was a game.
Yeah, it was a good
That
game.
could have been 4-4 at half time. I literally just caught the first half of that. Really good game. Brighton picked up the points where I didn't think they would do. So
it was a penalty at the end as well.
Yeah.
It was a penalty.
Yeah.
At the end.
Unfortunately.
I'm not gonna. Let's not mention VAR at all.
We'll try not to. We'll try not to. Right. Spurs with a great result at home.
Absolutely delighted with that.
Tactical genius.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite obvious from the start that we're going to try and hit them on the break a little bit. I think they look a bit like. You remember when Arsenal went through after their golden years, went through that overpassing thing?
Yeah.
To me, Man City are doing that, and they're not doing it quickly enough, so it allows you to get in dead quick.
Yeah. Well, I think Spurs just literally just went. We're in here. This is like our rectangle, and you can play around us all day long. You can have it there, and we're just going to.
Yeah, I know he worked hard, and he's got something different. And we're always dangerous. To be perfectly honest, even though the first half 1-0, they had a goal disallowed, rightly so. It was handball. Don't care, that's a fact. Spurs should have been. Kane should probably stay on side with that one. Although I think he was expecting Son to shoot and score, and Son miskicked it. We had 2 or 3 other opportunities before we scored the second. Perfectly fine. I take the point from some Spurs fans or some critics. Would they get away with playing like that with a full stadium? But I think we're so excited when we break, and we're breaking properly, not like when Mourinho first come, that look, what do you want to do?
That's
do
the
you want
problem.
to try and win something?
That's it.
Or do you want to play attractive football?
It's if you can get the combination of the two, it's awesome. But you take winning things over playing
massively
lovely football and finishing.
How many teams
sixth.
actually do both regularly?
Liverpool.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely delighted. I suppose we've got a tricky run of fixtures. If we come out of this, the other end still in the top 2 or 3, then you've got to say that we're up there with challenging them, yeah?
Ooh.
I'm not saying we're going to do, I'm just saying as a neutral, if we come through this run of fixtures,
I think your next one is going to be key to where you stand. Yeah, you can beat City who are not playing very well. Chelsea are on a bit of a high.
Yeah.
You guys are on a bit high. It'll be an interesting fixture.
I think you'll settle the same now.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you probably, we look dangerous in the front three, and Chelsea defence isn't brilliant either.
No.
I think.
It'll be
interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a good game.
I would say Thiago Silva will be looking to kick 5 bells out of Harry Kane.
I can
Would be my
imagine.
view.
Yeah. They noticed they arrested him for the last game potentially.
Yeah,
before
he
this
played
one.
last night in the Champions League.
Yeah. United could have been a draw, should have been a draw. Potentially if they got the penalty, but we're not going to discuss that. But I did call it as a draw, so United have just scraped through there, so I wasn't far off.
Keep Ollie at the wheel. Keep him at the wheel.
Fulham, Everton, a bit of a strange game. Fulham just lacklustre first half.
Did you watch it? I watched it.
Yeah. Everton played alright, and then Fulham kind of came back into it, but then just didn't have enough to get.
If ever there was a game of 2 halves, it was there, wasn't it?
And just didn't have enough to get over the line. Sheffield United, West Ham, I caught bits of it, but Sheffield United just so poor. But we're not going to discuss Sheffield United because we both said it.
Yeah.
We're really going to struggle this season.
The only game since lockdown of Fulham was at home to Spurs.
Wow. Leeds, Arsenal. Firstly, do not condone the abuse.
Al Kouazi,
the Spanish fella, and obviously Pepe out of order. But Al Kouazi's done a job on Pepe. He's been at him, he's ratted around him, he's upset him, frustrated him, even to the point where he's got under Tini's skin, and he's upset him. But that's part of football. You're not gonna. What frightens me is that. Why would you, as a professional footballer, just go, professional courtesy, I'll just let you have loads of time on the ball?
To be fair to Arteta as well, he slammed Pepe. He said much the same. He's part of what you've got to learn that.
Definitely, you're going to get people, but then what's going to do is everyone's going to now go, Pepe's a little bit weak. Like, Robertson must be sat there going, I can't wait to play Pepe next. Because he is, Robertson's really good. He got under Messi's skin, and not many people do that.
And people, all the top, all those kind of players, something like Højbjerg at Spurs will we'll have a little pop at him for sure.
But I just wonder now, Leeds will look back on that game having hit the bar and the post, they'll go, oh, maybe we've lost points there. Yeah. But it does put them in the bottom outside the top 10.
I'm not going to say I told you so.
Matthew, just get that crispy note out for me now.
I told you so.
Yeah.
Come on, that's impressive, really, wasn't it?
To be fair, I spoke to Nick Asher the day before and on the day, and I asked him what his viewpoint was, and he did say to me, I'd take a draw at Anfield, and I was a little bit like, surely you'd like to have a little pop at a wounded animal like Liverpool, but you know what he did, Klopp did, he managed to look after Fabinho enough to bring him out for that game, roll him out for that game. Yeah. Fabinho and Matip, and I joke you not, didn't look like they broke sweat, and it wasn't anything to do with Vardy's performance, it was to do with the fact that Liverpool's midfield were awesome. They just, Leicester tried to play it into like the likes of Tielemans and O'Brien and players like that, and Barnes to try and get them on the ball to move the ball forward, but Liverpool were just not letting them get their head up to release that pass. And you talk about, yes, that it was easy for the defensive line, and they probably did have good games, Matip, but it was all down to the work rate of the three in the middle. And Curtis Jones had for me his best game in a Liverpool shirt. I thought it was different class.
Impressive result, because I had a little sneaky feeling that Leicester might get something.
Yeah, and the funny thing is when Liverpool's last time they had this home record of unbeaten, they lost it to Leicester. So the omens were very much in Leicester's favour, but I think Liverpool set out right from the goal. The first few minutes, the front three were at it. Mane was at it. Jota looked sharp. I know Bobby got given the man of the match, but he should have had 3. You know, like he's missed 2. Evans has scored an unfortunate own goal because he's too busy trying to mark Mane, and it's hit the side of his head and gone in. And then the second half, the ball looks like it's bobbing up for Bobby to head it in. Evans has come beaming in from nowhere with an absolute drilled header off the post. I was like, that'd have been a great finish for his squad. How many players have actually scored 2 own goals in one match?
I don't know.
The only person I could plenty to do that would be the Titus Bramble or Frank Sinclair, what might be the only 2.
Jamie Carragher scored the most own goals.
Yeah, but they were like one-offs, but you know, like.
He definitely backed up.
But yeah, great result. Really happy with the performance.
And he sat second behind the early pace setters.
Yeah, but yeah.
All difference could come down to, you know, in the end.
It could do, but at this point in time, you're not concerned. You're like, you've got a really hard run of fixtures coming up, and if we can up, like I said,
finish review with it.
Yeah, I think for me, as a City of the day, my concern wasn't about you guys. My concern is now we're X amount of points ahead of City. So that's my viewpoint. Is that we've not had a great start, but we finally clicked in that last game in the Premier League game, not count Champions League, and we look sharp. And yet we are still second, and we lost 1 game, even though that was a bad result. And the other games weren't really much to write home about. Burnley turning over Crystal Palace 1-0, and Wolves Southampton, which I think we did say that would be a tricky fixture for.
Do you know what, I'm going to say something controversial? I'm bored of sides like Burnley and Crystal Palace in the Premier League.
Just get rid of them.
I'm just bored of them.
You do shoot them.
I'd rather see somebody else in another club. Can we just relegate them?
Yeah.
Get some people. Sheffield United, get rid of them.
Yeah, so let's just Jack's new system of Premier League. Let's vote. You're talking about.
Did they inspire you though to watch today?
No, if them games are on, you don't watch them. Yeah.
I'm being very, very flippant there, but that kind of game just doesn't.
You're tired and grumpy, aren't you?
Mate.
I tell you what, you're talking about franchising football now, aren't you?
No.
You are, because you want to get rid of teams.
No, I'm saying it tongue in cheek. I'm not, but just that kind of fixture doesn't entice me to watch a game of football.
Right, well let's go with this week's fixtures, see if anything entices
you. The top one, no interest.
Crystal Palace, Newcastle, which is Friday night.
No interest.
No interest in that. Brighton, Liverpool.
I mean, could be a good game that.
Brighton try and play a bit of football, don't they? So that'd be interesting. And it's Lallana's going back against Klopp, so that'd be interesting. City, Burnley.
Burnley just try and do a job like that.
Yeah, so that could be another banana skin again for City.
Well, they're not playing brilliant, are they? Let's be honest.
No, Everton Leeds would be interesting.
Good game, could be.
Yeah, that's Saturday night.
Look at that one there, Sunday.
No, sorry, there's another one Saturday night.
At 8 o'clock. I mean, there's no way I'm staying up for that game.
So for us, it'd be midnight, West Brom versus Sheffield United.
I tell you what though, interesting enough, if either side don't win that, they're in big trouble.
Yeah. That's like, when you get in trouble for shot avoidance, that'd be like match avoidance. Stay away from that game.
Yeah.
This one could be another sticky one for Ollie. Southampton, Man United.
Yeah.
Then probably you'd probably say the time of the weekend, Chelsea Spurs on Sunday.
Prime time Sunday.
8:30, yeah. And then Arsenal Wolves on Sunday night, and then we have 2 games on Monday. Leicester play Fulham, West Ham versus Villa. So yeah, it'd be interesting because if Liverpool go and beat Brighton as they expect, and you drop points with Chelsea, then
Leicester beat Fulham, it could be really wide open again.
Yeah, it could open. Yeah. Well, it could have Liverpool a few points ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and again, as we mentioned, you've still got a barren run of fixtures.
I still think you wouldn't bet too far away from Liverpool and Man City personally.
Yeah, and that's what I say to you is, from my viewpoint, is it's great that we've got all these other clubs amongst it, but my viewpoint is where is City, how many points away from them? Because they do have a game in hand. Right. Okay. Sporting superstitions.
Okay, so I did mention the show at the outset. So Stubbsy, who's a Lincolnshire lad, Lyndon Cricket Club, who won the sort of newly curtailed or the curtailed season last year. So well done. He's been around a little bit. He was talking about this over social media, and he said, "Best sporting superstitions." Well, that's quite a good one, that. And he told me that he never goes to bed on a Friday night before a game without having a bottle of wine.
Wow.
big shout there, Stubbsy. But at least you're honest. Maybe explain some of your performances, but he did say that he'd never not scored 100 without having the bottle of wine, so it's sticking, so fair play. Some of the ones from cricket from around the world, I think Jack Russell, the old wicket keeper, wore his like a bucket hat, not even a brimmed hat, like a bucket hat for ever, and he used to like paper mash it back together, put it in the oven to bake it. He took it all over the world from it. I think it's in a museum now. Unbelievable.
I've heard of one. Michael Jordan still wore his university shorts underneath his Chicago Bulls.
His North Carolina one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's loads there. So I was going to say, I can't think of any more out there. Do you have any? Because I have a couple.
I don't. I tend to stay away from superstition things. I kind of fell into one. It was I had a really good season with Squiresgate when I was in North West Counties, and at one point I remember the chairman saying to me, "We're like 3/4 way of season going. I'll tell you what, we've never seen you play so well. You have been awesome this year." And I was like, maybe start thinking, what am I doing? But I was a young lad at the time, so I used to go out every Friday night. So I used to think that it was all linked with going out on a Friday night.
So that's what you do.
So that's what I did. But I think what it is he then put that in my mind, and I didn't finish the season particularly well. I think I had a few off games after that. But I think it was that got into my head. But to be honest, I play a song that I like when I'm travelling to football. It gets me pumped up a little bit. But I can play without it. I can play with whatever it needs to. I try and stay away from it. I think it's more a case of, if you're that fixated on this has to happen, then you're too easily put off.
Yeah, I think I say I superstitions. I think what you just said is right. You kind of fall into more of a pattern of doing habits. So like, I always put my left pad on first, but that's just because it just happens now. I don't need superstition. I do like to bat in a long sleeve shirt, I must admit, and feel a little bit uncomfortable when I'm not. But whether that's a superstition or not, the only other thing is the box I wear. I mean, you can make of this what you like. It's the same box I had from 1993. So it's been around the world. It is disgusting. It's got like the padding around it. It's like all coming out. It's got cracks in it.
Is this the one you had when you were 13?
When I was 12, actually.
12.
No, actually,
that as what you want.
The reason I had it was because I played a school game, Boston Grammar School, and I left my box, or lost my box, or whatever. So instead of telling my dad, he would have absolutely roasted me. I went to Mr. Rangwell. I said, "Sir, have you got any new boxes?" And he always used to have a supply. So I went into the pavilion change rooms, into his little store, took one out brand new, but he'd always write, like as a stock take for sports teacher, always write the thing, and he said June or 6th-93, so the June 1993, and I still got it now. It's been around the world with me.
Minging.
But it doesn't go like, it goes in.
I know where it goes.
Yeah. I modelled for
please
your
don't.
wife.
No, yeah. I was like, don't mention that. It's out there.
Yeah.
I was there as well at the time, just in case anybody wasn't sure about that. But yeah, Jack often walks around bottling his cricket.
They're a bit like budgie smugglers or a tanga.
Yeah, they're kind of like a weird cross, aren't they?
Yeah. But they feel good.
But yeah,
it's the same box, but I'm sure there's other superstitions out there. Weird, wonderful ones.
There'll be all sorts. I remember one of the lads just spent so much time taping up his ankles, and I'm like, "What's wrong with your ankles?" He's like, nothing, but just in case. But I think that was in his head, you know, that aspect. And there's players that will touch the pitch. Sturridge used to walk out backwards onto the pitch. Paul Ince would only put his shirt on as he was walking onto the pitch. So there are things there, but I generally find superstition is for the weak-minded, and it's something that tries to help them get through stuff.
It's interesting. So just before we move on, Jonathan Trott, you know, very, very good player, international player, great record for England. He used to take his time and he used to scratch his guard so many times for every ball, and like to the point where it like really annoyed the opposition, and I think even annoyed some of the people he batted. It took so long, and then unfortunately, you know, he got he had some mental health issues and stuff like that. And he talks about the fact that he had to get things just never seemed right for him. Things he took his guard and that, and everything just played in his mind, and he was failure, and obviously being home for a long time, and also suffering more deeper things in mental health. But it does make you wonder that actually he's too fixated on that rather than necessarily coping with other things that are working for him.
It's the element of OCD, isn't it? Loads of stories about Gascoigne with that, but the one I was going to mention is the golfer. I think it might be a Japanese golfer that has a swing that from the start of his routine to him hitting the ball lasts about 45 seconds. And if at any point he gets his routine wrong, he has to stop and start it all over again. Imagine playing with somebody that does that 3 or 4 times every time they swing a ball. That must be mega frustrating.
Not like playing golf with me and Aldrin and just get down and whack it.
Yeah,
well, try to.
I just take that many shots. I'd probably be better with a 40-minute swing.
Well, the Shambos are saying, isn't it? They talk about him being really, really slow and stuff like that. But then I suppose the sports psychologist was saying it's all part of the preparation. And so what is the difference between preparation and superstition? If anybody else has got some weird and wonderful superstitions out there that you do, or you know of some sporting greats or some sporting people who do, then get involved.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about that, getting involved, Luke's been on again. It's officially confirmed Balotelli is not going to Barnsley.
Did you hear what Mika Richards said? So you know he's a bit of punditry. He said the first thing that crossed my mind was, oh, that's a bit close to me and Harrogate. I don't want him setting off fireworks in my bedroom and a bathroom again.
Yeah, brilliant. Unbelievable. Thank you for that, Luke. UK sporting greats, but before we go on to UK sporting greats, we have to mention, unfortunately, the passing of Diego Maradona yesterday. Loathe him or love him, he was a talent, without a shadow. He did cause lots of controversy for the English fans, and I think he has a quote out there saying, English fans absolutely hate me, but the Scottish people love me. That's all that matters.
Whether he said that or not, it's a good quote, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a good quote, but he was potentially one of the most talented footballers we've ever seen. He was a character off the pitch, there's no doubt about that. I've heard a few stories about Maradona and Oasis in the 90s.
You can only imagine
and I have to leave the conversation there because nothing of worth would be able to be aired after that point. But yes, he was a talented player. I love the fact that he was such a big personality, and I don't think we have enough of that. Like Messi and Ronaldo are brilliant in their own rights. Ronaldo's got a little bit more charisma off the pitch, but you've not got a Diego Maradona, you've not got a Paul Gascoigne, you've not got these type of people floating around. Yes, they do have checkered history, but that's what made you probably love them a bit more.
Yeah, and I suppose nowadays in the modern players, social media cuts that out of them a little bit, and everybody's so quick to blame and etc. But yeah, Maradona, what a great, I think, loads of things going around, and I think that 86 quarter final kind of sums his career up or his character up. You know, go from the hand of God, controversy, cheat, whatever you want to. I think cheat. He tried to get off. He got away with one. You know, we've all done stuff on a football or sports field that does that, but obviously it rakes with us as England fans, doesn't it? And then go to his other goal was an absolute wonder goal, and I think that actually metaphorically actually sums up his career. I still don't understand why Peter Reid or Terry Finnick didn't just chop him down.
Just absolutely
nail him, mate.
But I think he's one of them that even if you even if you do nail him, because I've seen one game where he's getting absolutely booted to high hell. It was a Barcelona game, and he's just bounced. People are just hitting him, and he's carrying on, and then I think he ends up losing, and then he ends up kicking them all in the face and stuff.
And a Spurs fan as well.
Yeah.
For the
is it?
Yeah. Plenty of pictures of him playing in a Spurs shirt, Aussie Ideas testimonial.
But yeah, it's a shame. The world is a lesser place without him. But leads us on to UK sporting greats. You tasked me with probably the most impossible task I've ever had.
I didn't really think about it, did I?
So you asked me to name my top 10 sporting greats. So we had a conversation off air. you've had a conversation with a few other people, and we realised that it's an impossible task.
It is impossible because, like, and I'm going to call you out a bit, Matty. When we were discussing it last Thursday night, we were talking about, I said sporting greats, so what they achieved, and you were more on the side of, like, a bit what you were just saying about Maradona, a bit more personality they bring to the game. And for me, they're quite different. I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive, but I think they're quite different. So something like a Paul Gascoigne, for example, would be up there as one of the UK's, most inspirational, most charismatic, whatever you want to use it. But is he a UK sporting great in terms of what he achieved? Probably not. And then the opposing thing, they talked about Andy Murray, for example, who has sort of on the face of a very little personality, very drab in front of the cameras for the wider public, yet actually in tennis terms, 3 Grand Slams, probably is up there with the UK sporting greats. So difficult to decide to put a 10 together. And I'll be completely honest, it kind of slipped my mind to even have to think about it in terms of a 10. Because I think you've really got to think. Look at the Olympic years always bring out, particularly UK female athletes. I think that's where they shine.
Yeah.
You sort of like Jessica Ennis-Hill.
Well, it was Paul Radcliffe, wasn't there?
Yeah. Sally Gunnell, Denise Lewis.
Yeah, so that was just 3 from athletics, and then you go literally from one sport to another. You to mention darts, Phil the Power Taylor. It's got to be one of the best. Well, he is the best darts player we've ever produced, and he's currently, according to records, is currently the best player ever. But then you can just go from one sport to another, can't you?
Yeah. It's like, do you go within our lifetime or not? Because I think you can't look away from someone like Bobby Moore. We obviously never saw him play. He's the only, football is the country's leading sport, whatever like that. Lifted it and had a lot about him as well. And obviously, from the reports you read, was unbelievable as a captain, as a leader, as a player, blah blah blah.
Charlton brothers. Gary Lineker, you've got all these people, Paul Gascoigne, as we mentioned,
Wayne Rooney's broken.
Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen potentially, as potential goal-wise.
Because I think Matt's biggest one was like Beckham in terms of like the influence on the country.
Yeah, Beckham awesome at free kicks, big personality as in regards to he carried it wealth with his name, but technically our best player? No,
not the best player, but you'd have him now.
Yeah,
you'd have him now, just because of his ability to. But I still don't think I'd put him in my top 10.
Well, that's it.
Because I would go on achievements and ability.
One other one that we've not even mentioned that we actually interviewed, Laura Massaro. World #1 for squash. You talk about that aspect. So I think
Jimmy Anderson's got to be up there. I think he's going to go down.
Sir Ian Botham.
Yeah. Lord Botham actually now.
Was it? All right. I apologise, Lord Botham, if you're listening.
But
so I think we decided then we are going to change it and we're going to go top 3 from different sports.
Yes.
So what sports are we going to look at? Or do you want to do your top 3 from cricket? Or do top 3
Let's start with that.
Right. Am I picking my top 3 cricketers as well?
Yeah, go on. We'll go and I'll do top 3. Yeah, because that's interesting.
I think I may only know 4.
I can't be one of them, so you only know 3.
I still only know 4. But we'll have a look at that next week. But everybody's been waiting in anticipation for the return of Larkin's Corner. So Radisson Red and Ian Larkin are sponsoring the next section of the show. So Larks, what have you got to say for yourself?
Hi lads, good to be back again after a bit of a hiatus. I'm not going to lie to you, the international break, it got me, it threw me for 6 really. Took up a lot of my time, ravaged my team, COVID hit Mo Salah, and I was in a deep dark place trying to find a way out of it. And sometimes life gets in the way. Some of you may know me, the number 2 might feel, and we're expecting a little Darren Ferguson soon. And we do less research on players and more research into buggies. But I tell you what, I've got to be better. I owe it to you guys. I've been inundated with messages. Larko, where the tips? We need some jam from you. And I let you down. I let you all down last week, and I'm sorry, but this week I'm back. Alright? Some of the questions is, I need a bargain. Got any good bargains? I've got about 5 mil or so to play with in midfield. I need a bargain. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's one for you. Alright? So Leander Dendoncker, alright? You know him, famous uncle, Clive. Alright, used to play at Charlton. Okay? Get him in. Next, I touched on it earlier. That sad international break. All right. Had to get him out. Unfortunately, he's always been a talisman for me. I've got the Prince in, aka Harry Kane. But what do you do when 30th team of Chelsea, a 30th team of Tottenham, the two form teams? What do you do? They're playing each other this week. I'll tell you what to do, lads. Use your bench boost. All right. That's all from me. I'm back this week. I'm back stronger. I'm staying humble. Over and out. Cheers, lads.
I tell you what, it's surprising. He only used the word jam once, which is good. I tell you what, he hasn't thought of, which I will pull him up for now, is that Mo Salah's back.
Yeah, did there some loophole that I read that they've got through?
He played last night in the Champions League.
Oh, did he?
So I don't know if he's a loophole in the Champions League or if it's a loophole for getting back in the Premiership. But he played last night in Champs.
Right, yeah, I did see that. Yeah. He lost 2-0.
So. Was about Liverpool this Jack.
I got it in.
Football.
Who was a weekly winner anyway? Who wins the voucher?
Oh, Mike Keevy, congratulations.
Very good,
who's currently top of the Fantasy Premier League.
Yeah.
So well done, Mike. It was actually quite close. I think going into the last couple of games, there was, I think, three people on 79 points, and even Harry was on there with 75 points at one point. So he was doing all right. But yeah, listen to Ian the Jam Larkin and go and get Clive Clive Dundonker's cousin or uncle or nephew or whatever it is in your team for this week. But that's the end of another show. You will see us next week if you watch us on YouTube with a fresh trim, looking really sharp,
smooth.
and hopefully about 10 years younger.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I've grown a bit attached to it.
You like it, don't you?
I do like it. I get told off all the time for stroking.
Yeah, you do like it.
But
I'm not really a fan.
Oh, you know,
why would you underline the schnoz like this?
Yeah, well, Danny's trying to even thought about it like that.
But,
does it highlight the nose more?
Yeah, it does.
But anyway, I think that's a good time to end the show.
Yeah.
So
I've had enough of skiing this week.
So yeah, thank you very much, Jack, for joining in. But as always,
what do we know?